Hi, I'm Patty.
I'm Kim Michelle.
And I'm Jill. Welcome to our podcast. It's a great day to talk.
Because honestly, what day isn't a great day to talk?
So join us in our conversation.
A Great Day to Talk is brought to you by St. George Design, offering complete website design, social media management, search engine optimization, Google and Facebook ad management, and many other digital and print marketing services. stgeorgedesign.com. And by Richardson Brothers Custom Homes, third-generation builders who have been building custom homes in southern Utah for over 25 years. They will take your dream home from concept to completion. Contact richardsonbrothers.com. The April Gates Group and Zion Canyon Real Estate have been specializing in helping Southern Utah clients buy and sell property for over 18 years. We can help you too. Call or text April today, 435-632-8869, 435-632-8869.
Friends, we're back.
We're back.
Oh my gosh, I miss you guys. I'm so happy to see you. Patricia, I'm happy to see you over there.
I'm just making sure that it is shared live.
Well,
We'll keep working then.
yeah.
I'm done. I got it.
You got it that
well,
fast?
look at you.
I'm getting better, and it didn't even sound.
Wait. I know we didn't even hear our voices
Normally,
talking back over the phone.
we hear it. It takes me a
I'm
minute.
kind of disappointed. Oh, but there's Sean. Hi, Sean.
We missed you too, Sean.
So a lot has happened, and we have not been here for at least a month.
It's
I know.
been a
Can you believe
month.
it?
Yeah.
Well,
We
had
missed
to,
2 weeks ago.
We had to miss 2 weeks ago. We had
A little.
a couple of family
I got COVID.
situations. Yep. And so we had some things then. We had to do a quick reshuffling of our schedule.
Yeah.
But today we're super excited.
I know.
Because we're back, and
Yeah.
we have fabulous guests. If you can't
Yes.
tell, on the left,
Not
of
prettier
me.
than us or younger.
Actually, all of the above.
All of the above. But
All
we're
of
not
the
talking
above.
about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not why
true,
they're
all of
here.
them. But we
No,
still like
it's
them.
not. We
We
do.
still like them.
Let's talk about why they're here. Patty?
Yeah.
So to our left, there are 5 of us. This is so
I know.
awesome.
Yay.
But we have Angie Smith and Aubrey Sullivan, who are dear friends of mine and ours. And they are here to talk about a business that they run called Reins Healing Therapeutic Services. And they do equine therapy as well. And Sean has just put up their logo, which I love, and I love their name. I love all things about it. I love the feathers. I
All
just
of it.
dream catcher with the horse in the middle. It just says so much. I
Yeah.
think it's awesome. And we were able to spend the last 2 hours with them talking about what they do, and we are so
It was
excited.
Drudgery, wasn't it?
No,
I mean, it was fabulous.
it was
Yeah,
awesome.
it really was.
We're so excited to hear from them today, and I know that we're just going to get a little surface bit of what they do and knowing who they are, and we're going to want them back over and over and again, and just we're going to want to be with them all the time.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and we
So
would
hopefully
love to
they'll
have
want
you
to be
guys
with
out.
us.
So-
Yes.
Oh, well,
I
thank
would
you.
love that.
And that is what an offer at dinner tonight before we came. They offered that we come out and get
Live
to
there.
experience.
Yeah.
And live with the horses.
And live with them. In
Rent-free.
fact, we're going to do that and leave our families and just live with them.
It is down by the river. So bring
Yeah.
your
Down by
van.
the river.
We're going
There
to,
we go.
I've got a van and we're going to live by the river. So that is actually perfect.
And
But-
I'm not going to live down there, but I'm going to take some pictures of them,
Yes.
and then I'll bring them to the podcast.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So they offered that we could, that we should come and experience what they do. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that and get some video footage and
Yeah.
do a live podcast
Bring you back. Yeah,
from
we're really excited.
the therapeutic center.
Not that we
So-
need any.
No, we're good. We're solid.
I think that, yes, we just want to put that out there.
Right,
We're just
right.
coming
So
to
this
see
would
how
just
it's
be,
helping others.
so other people can experience what we've experienced, so we can share it because
Right.
we don't need any mental health counseling.
Right, exactly.
Oh my gosh. If I had a nickel for all the mental health counseling I need. So what we would like to do is turn the time over to Angie and Aubrey so that they can tell us exactly what they do, why they did it, how they started, because their story is so awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
So we're going to try really hard to be quiet over here
'Cause we
and
have
just
to
hear
try.
from you guys. And we're we're gonna try not to sing as well.
Okay.
Unless a
I
horse,
feel like that's gonna be
unless a
hard,
horse
but
song comes, I might have to sing.
We will.
So I'm Aubrey. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I have a private practice in the community. And then we have our nonprofit Equine Therapy business that we run from Angie's Ranch. And I'll just speak to the name. Like, it was important to us to have hope in the name, because I feel like as long as we have hope, we have something, right? Something to hold on to. It's when we lose hope that it gets really, really dark. And our goal is to bring hope to people and to let them know that there is a tomorrow and it does get better. I can just speak for myself. I've been in the dark. I've come from dark places in my life. And hope is key. And the dream catcher is just like holding on to our dreams, remembering like what we're here to do and our purpose, and standing in that truth, even when I know for both of us, we took a huge leap into this purpose, having no answers and no real promise that it would work out, but we had hope, and it has worked out.
It is something that I just find so beautiful.
Yeah, it really
Just
is. Yeah.
in and of itself, the origin and the creation,
Yeah.
and how you came about that is just, it's just as
Well,
amazing.
and just
Thank
so
you.
brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've experienced something so brave to just quit my job and follow my dream in that regard. Not that my dream isn't what I do. I love what I do, but just something else. Like
Yeah.
just even a move, you know?
We both took 2 huge leaps of faith and left full-time jobs with health insurance and 401k and all the
Wow.
securities, right? To trust in the leap. And it's worked so far. And I think that's because we have stepped into our calling and our life work, and kind of what we've been asked to do from something higher than us. And so
That's amazing.
So
introduce yourself.
for those of you that are listening, we're talking about equine therapy, which is using horses to heal mental health issues, which for a lot of people is foreign. So explain a little bit about that.
So I'm going to let Ange introduce herself because she didn't yet, and that's important.
Yes,
because she's
yes.
my other half.
So I'm Angie Smith. I am the equine specialist in our partnership. My role is to watch the horses, watch the safety of the humans, and pick up on anything that I may notice that is different for the horses, behaviors. They may be showing different behaviors that are not normal for them, some shifts, patterns, and then Aubrey and I will talk about that, and oftentimes that reflects over to the people, the clients that are there, and oftentimes the clients are able to accept or recognize certain patterns and behaviors that they have in themselves. They see it in the horses, and they're able to connect with that in a way that they cannot at like talk therapy, traditional talk therapy.
Well, and you said at lunch or at dinner tonight that the horses will mirror human behavior. And so that means that maybe the client can see their behavior where we might not recognize in ourselves what we're doing, but when we see it, somebody else doing it or a horse doing it, we're like, oh, wait, that I do that.
Yes, for
Is
sure.
that what you're talking about?
Yes. Horses also feed off energy from the humans.
Yeah.
And so if a person is bringing this energy, the horse matches it. And oftentimes we're able to help point that out to the people, and they're able to recognize that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll be like mirrored. Their stuff will be mirrored. So we all wear masks, especially like different masks, depending on who we're with, where we're going, what setting we're in, how comfortable we feel. The horses really just see straight to the spirit, straight to the heart, straight to the stuff. And that's what they work with. They don't care about the mask. They don't care about if our hair's done, not done, what clothes we're wearing. They don't have the judgments. They're just showing up authentically and asking you, like, are you ready to look at this? And it's oftentimes like our own stuff that's being mirrored, but it's also a lot of times like family members are perpetrators and we're able to see it outside of ourselves and then really support people in finding their voice, setting boundaries, taking a stand for the first time. Sometimes we work with women, it's the first time they've said no. Angie has a horse. We do this at her ranch. She's got a beautiful 5-acre ranch. She's got 5 of the 6 horses we use, and she's got her lead gelding, who is really, he seems to work with the ones that show up with ego. He kind of is like, no, we're going to put that in check. And the women that have kind of been walked over or not had a voice, he really elicits a response that requires you to stand up and own your power and use your voice. And so just naturally, they each have their gifts. They each have how they show up and kind of who attracts to them. And they really do that work. Like, we are just facilitators. We hold space, but we don't really take the credit because we're helping process in our language, but it's really the horses that are helping them heal.
That for them.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty amazing that it just kind of resonated with me that we're women who don't say no very often, because it's really hard for me. I know that if someone asked me to do something, that my immediate response is yes, always. And with a horse, and if you're trying to guide it or do something with it, your safety's at risk, maybe. And so you have to say, no, horse, we're going this way, and practice that. I think being able to practice saying, no, that doesn't work for me, because we've been saying yes our whole lives, right? I mean, a lot of people, not just necessarily women, but for me, I know I'm a yes girl. So don't ask me to do something, because I'll just say yes.
I'm making a little list right here of all the things I'm going to ask Patty to do as soon
And
as the show is over.
I'll do it. I promise. I'll do it.
No, you won't. You're going to come to Equine
gonna say,
Therapy, and then you're going to
no.
start saying no.
I
Yes.
can't.
No, thank you.
And I feel really bad
Then I
about
better
it.
get that list to you really fast.
Yeah. Saying no for me was if I had to have a big enough reason to say no. And
Yes.
over the years, I've heard no as a complete sentence. I'm like, no, but I have to give an excuse to make it super valid.
Yep.
So that other people just don't think I'm an
Accept it,
asshole
don't
because
get-
I said no.
Well, because let's be honest, the labels that we're given are strong words, like bitch, like hard to work with,
Difficult.
defiant,
Power hungry. All of
right.
those words.
And so we actually just had the opportunity to practice saying, no, this isn't in alignment, and we don't want to move forward. And the one thing I remembered was a post I had seen that said, you don't have to explain or apologize your no. Your no, N-O, is good enough. It does not require anything after that. And so we left it super simple. Like, no, this isn't for us. Thank you, and no. And I think, saying no and setting boundaries supports our mental health. Because when we say yes, 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 we end up pouring from an empty cup. And that's a hard place to work from.
And the truth of the matter is, when you say yes, 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 you are saying no, no, no somewhere along the line, because
To
you
something
can't
else.
truly, you are saying no to
Yes.
something else that might serve you and the people around you better.
Right.
But so you are saying no in a way. It's
Yeah.
just an
It's just
easier
a who
no
to,
almost.
right,
Yeah.
and to what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's interesting.
so
Sorry.
saying no to a horse and setting that boundary is a really great way of adding that into your everyday life, because a horse is a 12 to
Yeah.
1,400 pound animal that when you say no and you set that boundary, you better mean it, because you've got to back it, because that's not always the way it is with a human, right?
Right.
Interacting. So so it's so often we're able to help people set boundaries and learn how to set a boundary with that horse, and then let that roll over into your everyday life with a human.
Yeah.
It's huge. Like, you got to mean it.
Yeah.
Because
you-
they'll push you right back.
Yeah, and you don't want a 1,400-pound animal in charge of you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what we talk about too, is it's you or it's them. They're prey and we're the predator. And that speaks to a lot of who we work with as well, just that dynamic as prey and predator, and really respecting them, but also honoring, the fact that we are the predator, so to speak, but really they could do the damage if they wanted, right? So there's a mutual respect that needs to happen, but also as herd animals, they have a pecking order. We become a part of that when we engage with them. And so it is important that you find your place and that you're not at the bottom, because they will respect it, but you have to assert yourself and you have to require it of them. They will not give it up freely because it's such a vulnerable space for a prey to give that up, that you have to earn it. You have to prove that you can manage it.
Yep.
And so it for some clients, it takes several weeks to get there. But when they do, we've had people drive off and turn around in the parking lot and come back and say, holy crap, I just realized who that horse is in my life. And in fact, their names are actually the same. And that's my abuser.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Powerful.
And that's part of building a trust relationship too, right? Is saying no and meaning no and sticking with no.
Yeah.
And building that I can trust what you say and you can trust that when I say it, I mean it, right?
And
that's part of
even
that
more than
relationship
that,
dynamic.
Trusting ourselves.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
as I'm just going to speak, as women, we're taught to not listen to our intuition, to deny our gut feelings, we're just being dramatic, we're just being this, we're just being that. It's there for a reason. And so it's important that we really pay attention to that and to what comes up with that, and that we honor that.
I love on your website, I'm not sure if this is exactly what it says, but it says something to the effect that a horse can hear your heartbeat from 4 feet away, right? So energetically, I mean, we talk about the power of words all the time. And I love that and they are powerful, both that serve us and that don't serve us.
Absolutely.
But I love that so much of this work is I could say a word, but energetically I could be in a totally different place. And that horse will be able to know energy to energy, really where I'm coming from. And I just love that.
Yeah. So the horse can literally call bullshit.
Yes.
And they do. And so you have to be willing to look at that and to be open to receiving the messages that they have. Are you ready? And sometimes people aren't. We've had people come to group and leave the first day and we had a lady message us and I'm like, oh, and it was our first female women's group. I'm like, we just lost our first woman. And she was like, I'm like, hang in there, trust the process. Like it does get better. She was so triggered by the other females, by the horses. Everything felt like a threat. And she said, oh no, I am coming back. And there were weeks she would drive by and we'd see her car go by. And then she was like going to keep going. And she'd show up to session. She's like, I drove by and I didn't want to come. We're like, we know. Yeah. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up for you, because
Right.
it's not about us and
No.
it's not even about the horses. It's for you. And so she came every week. We had super profound experiences. She did and shared those. And there's a lot of conditioning to undo. There's a lot of labels to let go of. There's a lot of, the world tells us to be a certain way and how to show up and what's right and what's wrong. And I'm super passionate about working with people that don't fit the mold. I want to work with those people that don't feel like they have a place and that feel like they're different or they don't fit in.
And why do you think that is for you, Aubrey?
Because I've lived that experience. I moved here at 16 from Alaska, and I wasn't of the predominant faith, and I didn't fit in. And that was hard as a 16-year-old. I had gone to the same church, the same school, my entire life, same friends. And so I really had to find my way, and that led me down a really dark road for a long time. And just a lot of self-destruction. And so I relate to the struggle and to the fight and does it even matter? What is all of this for? Why, and finding my why. I remember one day I just was kind of probably in some victimhood, and it was just why? Why me? Why this bullshit? Why? And I literally heard, so you understand.
Yeah.
And once I could make purpose of my pain, I think it saved my life, to be honest with you. Like, I could go forward from that point because it had meaning. And that's, I think, where my healing journey really started many years ago. And it's just an unfolding. Like, as humans, if we want to be better people, we're constantly doing our work. We're constantly healing, evolving, being open. And it's hard. It's hard to be vulnerable, you know? I know what it's like to feel like a lone wolf. And so that's what I'm passionate about, is empowering women that don't feel like they have a place, and just helping, you know, adopted kids and kids in the foster system are also big on my heart. And
you also work with men
yeah,
as well who maybe don't have a place as well. So,
Yeah.
So all humans for you
yeah,
and ages.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just the misfits. Give me the misfits. Like,
Oh, well, that's all.
Island of
That's
misfits.
everybody.
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Because at
I mean,
some
honestly.
level, even the person who you think has it all together has their island of
Misfit toys.
sure.
right?
So true.
That has probably is just maybe hiding it better than maybe some of the rest of us. But
Well, and
everybody has a point of pain
For sure.
that they're working through.
And you started off talking about the masks. And so
And you do with your students
right,
a mask exercise, right?
We do.
Yeah.
It's not as therapeutic as I would like, because
Well, you're
kids are
in a
hard.
public setting.
Yeah,
and-
but
Yeah.
it does. We
Yeah.
do that, and it's fun to
Yeah.
see the kids that are willing to be vulnerable.
yeah.
With their masks,
Yeah.
for sure. So, why equine therapy? Angie, did you grow up around horses?
I did. I've always had horses in my life. I know what they've brought to my life. So when I heard about equine therapy, I was like, wow,
That makes sense.
if I can share this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
No.
gosh,
No.
those
we're-
are like the
never.
trigger point for me. So
So yeah, to be able to share this with people that I know that are struggling in whatever aspect of their life, and this may be the one thing that reaches them, that touches them, and changes their life. I've seen it. Yeah. So when I heard about equine therapy, I was like, "Oh, honey, we're doing this with our horses."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Right.
Trust me.
We rope. We don't do therapy.
Right.
We stuff it.
But think about it.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
does therapy every day.
He does
Yeah,
therapy.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 'cause he's
100%.
with
Yeah.
his own
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the therapy that you do is non-riding therapy. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So why don't
Yeah,
you tell
so
us a little
it's-
bit about that?
It's all ground-based, experiential learning, hands-on. Sometimes we create activities for people to work together or to express themselves, and sometimes we just let it flow. What do you need today? You know, sometimes we usually have a plan, but oftentimes we have like a group of kids show up and we're like, yep, that's not happening today. And
Yeah.
so we're just good at switching gears and just, what do you need? What do you need today? And a lot of them just need space to be and to do what they're feeling without an agenda or an adult telling them what to do.
Well, and oftentimes we have an agenda or an activity planned in our mind for that day. And then those kids walk up, or whoever it may be, and we kind of just sit back, fill into it, and we're like, that's not for today. Switch gears. We need to do something else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you guys
so
are
we-
super in tune to the energy that the group
Yep.
brings. Is it all group therapy?
It is right now. It's been groups because we feel like we can, with a 2-person team, we feel like we can reach more people that way. We are looking at doing some one-on-one, but so far in our first year, we're just entering our second year. Our first year was mostly group. Like 97% was group work.
Well, and one of the things that you two talked about, which I think you should be super proud about, and I know that we applaud it as well, is that your success in just 1 year, just starting your second year, you have been a successful full-time equine therapy organization in the first year, which we don't have a full-time equine therapy situation here in Southern Utah. except for you two. So kudos
Right.
Yeah,
to you guys.
absolutely.
That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah.
And to your horses.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because
Yeah.
I'm sure they are equally part of the partnership.
They are 100%.
100%.
And even, right, we get, and like just a learning moment. It was, I think you mentioned the word used the horses. I really try to reframe that into partnering with
Yes,
the
of
horses.
course.
And it's natural that we use that language. I still catch myself, but they are our partners. And without them, we don't have this work. Right. And honestly,
equal.
without our community partnerships and the people that have been willing to like kind of double down and be passionate about our dream with us and support us, we would not be here today without our community.
Well, and you mentioned earlier today that you have a group of therapists or a therapy group here in St. George that brings their clients and therapists out to work with your horses because they don't offer it at their center. So you're a resource for them as well.
We really try to partner with, right? So even like I have a private practice, even other therapists, I'm like, hey, I had a therapist call me actually. I used to work with her and she's like, I've got this client and I think she'd really benefit. And it's not, we're not taking clients from, we're adding to. Like, we don't want them to stop therapy or their programming and what they're doing. We want to support what is already being done and enhance that however we can. And so, yeah, we have groups come out and the therapist will come out and staff comes out and usually they leave like, oh, we've got a lot to talk about. And there's just stuff that unfolds outside, outdoors, in nature, hawks flying over, eagles landing. I mean,
The river.
baby cows being born. It's
The
just
sounds.
everything is like, you know, unfolding, and then the horses. And so it just really lends to a different environment that doesn't feel so intense as I'm sitting in a room across from you. And now I'm supposed to share with you like my deepest, darkest stuff. Like that doesn't feel safe to me. But I can share that with this horse. And sometimes we do that. Like people will share their trauma story just with the horse off away by themselves where they don't have to speak to us. I don't need to know their story, you know? And then usually if we do like an 8-week group, we'll do ceremony at the end with some drumming and saging and clearing and burning of whatever they wrote that they want to let go of. And they can write things they kind of want to call into their life. And so we're really just trying to provide opportunities and new ways of learning and growing and being.
Well, and I love all that symbolism,
Right.
the burning of the things I want to let go of and the calling into the things I want to add to, and that ceremony, because we've lived with rites of passage our whole lives.
Yeah.
And so in a way, our rites of passage kind of end at certain ages, and yet things still unfold, and we probably still need some of that ceremony as we move through different things. So
Well,
in
and
a way,
for a lot of people, depending on where their emotional trigger happened or their real emotional damage might have happened, the rest of the rites of passage that would normally come with that we would say with age progression don't happen for
Right.
them. So to create a safe place for them to continue to see that they can move past that, and it isn't age dependent. It isn't dependent upon any of that. It's dependent upon the time that you can release off of whatever that was, whatever that trauma was, and now move forward. That somebody else doesn't, that it's not dependent upon age, and that you can create even for yourself whatever that ritualistic passing of whatever that energy is, that you can create that in your own life at any given time or space.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah. Really powerful. What do you feel is the most, I mean, we have, you know, at different times we have different listeners listening, and that can provide masterminding opportunities. So if you were going to put forward anything that feels challenging or an opportunity that you would love to grow into that you haven't quite figured out yet, that we could potentially receive feedback on and send your way, what might that be for you?
That was a lot of words. So I think the question in there was, how
can we support you?
Support you? Yeah.
Well, fine. Yeah. How can we support you?
As simple as that.
You guys are supporting us.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
honestly, having dinner with us and hearing what our mission is and where our hearts are at, and and giving us this platform to share that with people is so supportive, and we're so grateful. I think we want to grow our business and reach as many people as we can. We want as many people to have this opportunity as possible. And so I think there's room for discussion there.
Yeah, I feel like we have just reached the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Like our dreams are big.
Yes.
We want to reach
All of it.
all of it.
Right.
Everyone out there.
Right.
Anyone that's even remotely open, if the door is even an inch cracked, we have room.
Well, and I also think I can think of people I know that have tried traditional types of counseling or therapy or programs, and it hasn't spoke to them or worked for them. And I think this is such a great opportunity, and getting the word out. Like if I said to my mom equine therapy, she wouldn't know, generationally,
Yeah.
Right.
she wouldn't probably know what I was talking about necessarily, but because it is different. And so
I was thinking about that earlier driving over here, is just getting the word out about equine therapy.
Yeah. What it
and
is.
what that means. Yeah. And that it's an alternative healing modality that is fairly new in
Yeah.
the mental health world.
Yeah, I would
And
maybe fairly new in terms of being recognized,
Yes.
but
Yes.
in terms of the healing power of that, I would say it is probably not
Ancient.
new. It is probably one of our most ancient forms
Well,
of
yes.
healing.
Connection,
But in
healing.
terms of a practiced modality and a
Western
recognized
medicine.
one in Western medicine, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can even see couples like
I was
doing
just thinking that same thing.
Couples,
Yeah.
How
family
powerful.
work.
Yeah.
We really want to do some
Yeah.
family work, which is not easy. It's not an easy task for us because, to be honest and transparent, a lot of times parents are resistant, right?
Sure.
And we really are passionate about helping family systems because that's usually where a lot of our trauma comes from. And so if we can make a difference there, we want to. But I mean, we have big dreams. This is just, we just completed year 1. I can only imagine what year 2 will bring. We're already we could double easily in size and
Easily.
still probably not meet the need. Like we are turning people away.
Right.
And I hate that.
Yeah.
And so that's something we do want to look at. And then, big dream wise, I really, for over 20 years, have visualized a healing sanctuary with horses, animals, and we're just a place where people know they can come and be. I think our system provides healing, fragmented pieces of healing. Like you get to heal this and you get to heal that.
Yeah.
we want to see whole healing for people, where people leave feeling whole, because we're so conditioned that we're broken, or that we lost pieces of ourselves when things were taken or when things happened. And the reality is we are perfect as we are. We are whole regardless. And that's the message we want to send. We work with kids that are, in their 4th move of the year into a different home. And I'm just like, dear God, I had issues and I didn't have 4 different homes in a year.
Right.
Right. I had stuff from just my own family, my own struggles. And so how do we really step up as a community and support and help? Because we're just recreating trauma after trauma after trauma. It's generational, which we talk about. And I do believe there's healing I believe it can be found. And I feel like it takes people of courage to stand up and offer different ways to do that.
Experiential is huge.
Yeah, for sure.
What reaches one person is not going to reach the other, but we have clients that we have served that have that are well into their 60s that have tried traditional therapy for years and never really gotten what they've needed, come to equine therapy and had their
Those
doors
breakthrough
just
moments.
blown off the hinges and have been able to heal from the horses.
And it's not, I want to be clear too, it's not about knocking traditional
Yeah, no.
therapy. I
No,
am
no.
a therapist. I'm a
Yes.
licensed clinical social
Yes.
worker. I sit in my office, I do therapy, but I can recognize me as a human with my education has limits. I see things through my lens, right? I try not to sometimes, but there are certain people that I'm like, yeah, I won't work with you. Not,
Right.
nope, I've got too much bias there. Like, I'll be honest about it.
Right.
You know, and so this just provides like talk therapy. Some people need to talk their stuff out, and that is one layer of it. But there are other things also. And the crappy part is that like experiential therapies aren't recognized by
Right.
insurance.
Right.
Right. And so then you run into financial barriers where people can't access this different healing modality because it's not recognized, it's not covered, it's not this, or it's not that. And I think that's where we run into some barriers.
It's completely unfortunate because we have a toolbox with multiple tools to help or work on multiple things.
Yeah.
And to me, you know, equine therapy, art therapy, music therapy, physical therapy, all of those therapies, occupation, I mean, they're all about the whole, a piece or part of the whole.
Yeah.
And to not acknowledge that or recognize that is completely a disservice to humanity.
100%.
Well,
And-
generations.
Right.
Because if one generation isn't getting healed,
It just
neither-
continues
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and a hammer is great
Unless you need a screwdriver.
unless you need a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. For them, for those modalities to build on
Right.
one another and just enhance the other
Right.
is
Well,
magical.
We know that in education too.
Yeah. It's,
You know,
it's across
never,
the board.
It's never one
yeah.
size fits
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
and
Right.
it is unfortunate that is the mindset that tends to permeate
Yeah.
when it comes
And
to helping
I mean, in the
people.
classroom, it won't be insurance, right? But it'll be your standardized testing. So
Right.
if you want to work to teach a screwdriver when the hammer is going to be on the test, you're going to have the same kind of pushback as what you're going to see out there in any other industry. So part of it is just expand our thinking. That really and expand how we decide what we choose to value
Right.
within our different professions and experiences. Yeah.
That leads me to ask this question, you know, what is being done, and not necessarily by you guys because you are in the middle of the work, right? What is being done to bring that to light to insurance companies?
Good question.
I'm not sure. Insurance
Like, is there,
has its pros and cons. I will say this. So we've been in contact with someone locally. His name is DJ, and we are likely going to be a part of a large fall conference for licensed marriage and family therapists. And a lot of what they're doing is experiential.
oh, that's great.
Yeah. So to just simply answer that is that it has to be evidence based.
Okay.
Right.
That's what I was going to
Right.
ask.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And equine
Yeah.
is not. So yeah.
So there are people in the community spearheading, like really bringing the therapists together, number one, because there is division among therapists and therapies and approaches and models. And then I think just bringing experiential to the forefront is like key also in showing the validity of how much it does support and help us heal.
So who could collect that data? Because it just, I mean, we know everything's data driven.
Yeah, it
I mean,
is.
that's such an interesting angle. I'm just thinking of like, gosh, I'm just going to come and I'm going to keep data for you guys so that
That would
this
be
could,
awesome
that
because
this
we've
could
talked
happen.
about that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
We
It's
have
like
talked about that.
data-driven information. We know that is the basis for
Everything.
everything.
And EGALA did do that. That's an equine assisted evidence based model that we were both certified in, that we chose to no longer certify in because we felt like it held some limitations to how we wanted to be and how we wanted to express and do our work authentically. And so there are ways to do it. And I do remember them saying, like, look, if you haven't like issues with insurance, like, let us know. We'll support you in this. But that's one model. And if you choose to not be certified in it, the thing we've been doing is like what other models do we want to learn from.
Right.
So we've looked into some trauma-informed models and just like natural horsemanship and nature-based. But
And
yeah,
more
the
intuitive
yeah,
led
Yeah.
versus
the like rigid
scientific
medical
methodology.
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's being worked on. It's just a slow process.
Right.
And
Anything that is not of the traditional path.
mainstream
Yeah.
is going to be a
Yeah.
fight,
Yeah.
right? But I think it starts with us. And so how can we use what we're seeing to provide evidence to whoever needs it, to add to their statistics, to
That's the thing.
validate what we're doing, you
Right.
know, because a lot of people are doing this work. And I'll also say, I am going to say this on my little therapist platform, there are a lot of people out there presenting as equine therapists. And yes, equine is therapeutic and horses are therapeutic. But there's also, I think, a way to go about it and things to call it when you're not a licensed mental health professional.
Right.
And so I think
Equine assisted activities, learning.
equine assisted
Right.
learning, there's so many terms. But it kind of is also, I'm going to be honest and transparent, and some people aren't going to like this, and that's okay, because I'm not here to make everybody happy. I'm here to speak my truth.
Our listener will be fine.
Yeah. It will be shocking to them, but
Just
they'll
to
get
our
over
one
it.
listener.
You know, when I look at my path of going to school and fighting my way through learning disabilities and school being hard and substance abuse issues and everything I fought for, when I stand here today in a different life as a licensed clinical social worker trying to create change, and then I see someone with a ranch doing equine therapy,
That's a slap in
Very,
the face.
very.
it doesn't sit well with me. I'm
No.
going to be
Sure.
honest.
And you're right.
Absolutely.
It could be called something other. Don't call it therapy because that gives a different message to
It does.
the people who
And
are
I
paying
think
for
It's
it.
a learning activity.
I think if you're honoring who you are and what you're actually representing, be truthful in what words you're using. And so we're mindful about that. And we learn, like, we'll make posts and people are like, oh my gosh, like, you shouldn't be putting the words on the horses because they're so powerful, you know? And so, and it's like, thank you for your feedback. We'll look at that because we're not opposed to looking at things and learning
Sure.
and growing and evolving. We do not have all the answers, right? We also know our horses, we know our herd, and we know how to navigate that. Like, I wouldn't put all those words on every single horse we have, but the ones we used, totally confident in their ability to move right
that
along.
go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, how would someone make an appointment with you or join one of your groups or be able
In
to
the future, we
come?
know if they wanted to make some type of contribution, they can donate in the future donate button that will be on your website in the
Right.
future.
Because this is a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
In fact, their services are free because of its nonprofit status.
For those that qualify, yes.
For those who qualify, absolutely. And so that's one of the scary parts is, it's with a horse and horses are expensive, so I won't be able to do it. So we don't want to turn anyone away in that regard. And also, I would suggest if this is a passion for you to get on their website and click that donate button tomorrow.
They've got to set the donate button up.
In the very near future.
In the near future,
very near future.
message them and say, hey, let me know when I can donate, and they will let you know when you can
Yeah.
donate. But what if I was listening today and thought, I would love to join a group equine therapy situation? How would I do that?
Or I'd even like to volunteer time, even if it's cleaning out stalls. Do you allow for that kind of service or contribution? Because I know you probably are protective of your horses, which I can totally understand. Is there opportunity for that even?
You know, we have a lot of people that reach out to us for that. And, you know, thank God for them. That's so sweet. And we may come to a place that we will need volunteers. We keep a list of people that we can reach back out to. We hope that we do get to grow that large, that
Yeah.
we need help and volunteers. But as far as wanting to schedule a an appointment.
Our Facebook page is a way to reach us. HopeReinsHealing.com is our website. To be honest, we just got a new number and I don't know it.
But it's on our website.
Yeah. All
So
of
people
our
can
info.
call and say, when is your next 8-week group session
So-
for addiction or for whatever? Are they specific?
Well, so we do run specific groups, and what we've found is that when we started this, we were doing all community based. So it was anyone in the community. The hard part was our funding source requires a certain amount of people to show up, and there was a lack of consistency, and that created barriers for us. And so what we've really tried to focus on is who wants to be in partnership with us, who wants to support the work we're doing and support their clients and put some skin in the game if that's what it means.
That makes
Okay.
all the
So
sense.
we want to put you in contact with organizations that can partner with you.
Ideally, yes. Like,
Okay.
So we work with
All right.
organizations that already have people showing up, whether it's like they're in day treatment or IOP for drug and alcohol treatment, or they're in some sort of behavioral skill day program and they're not attending regular school, but they're going to a different program.
Do you have a list on your website of the partners?
We
Don't.
That's coming with the donate button.
Just in case, so I have someone in mind that I think could benefit. I have a couple people, 3 of us, and then a couple others.
What are you saying about me, Patty?
Well, no, I mean, of course, absolutely, everyone, and Sean included, we can all benefit.
Yes, Sean. Come hang
No
out.
offense, Sean. But specifically, a couple teens that are in my world, and one belongs to a community organization. I don't know if it's a partner or not, and so that's what I think would be interesting to know is if you said, "Oh, hey, this is your therapist. They partner with this. Try that route." Because
Yeah, I mean, we're still really learning and growing. I feel like we're little babies in this.
you're a year old.
Yeah, we're a
You're,
year
you're not
old.
even
barely
walking.
walking.
You're baby and one word.
Yeah, and so what's cool is having women like you and Souls and RCI and just different agencies that have come alongside us to really support, and that's what it's going to take to grow. So right now we don't really have open groups. Do we want to open it back up? Yes. That also requires commitment on people's behalf
Right.
to show up
And-
for themselves.
Right.
For
But if
8
they were
weeks.
privately funded, and you wouldn't have the same kind of requirements as if you were taking public
Can you
funds. So-
do private funded
Absolutely,
groups
yes.
even as a nonprofit?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we
Okay.
have.
And we're
Okay.
also interested, we've done some retreat work, and we are interested in doing more of that and more women's circles, and also working with corporate business people
Absolutely.
that want to do
Leadership
team
types of
building,
trainings. Yeah.
leadership
Right.
training. Yeah, I mean, this can expand to every single area of our life.
Absolutely.
For sure.
We've focused on mental health because we really started this when COVID hit, and we were in a bad crisis, and it's
The
not getting
need was
better.
so great.
It's not getting
Oh,
better.
it's not.
You know, so it's going to take a village, and we're open to conversations, and that's one thing we always say is we have people call or want to talk about all sorts of different ventures, and we always say we're open to a conversation.
We are.
Absolutely.
We always meet with them. Let's see
See.
what we each have to offer and see if it's a good fit.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And if it is, great. And if it isn't, we can say no.
Yeah, and here's the other thing.
That's not a good
we are
fit.
going to
Yes.
honor our time and our value, and we have run up against some of that where we don't ask for much, but it doesn't want to. There's not a meeting in the middle, and when we know that capability is there, then that doesn't feel aligned to us. We're not willing to not honor who we are and how we're showing up.
Well, yeah, your vision is your vision and your business, and so it needs to fit
Well,
both places,
yeah,
both
you've got to
parties.
be honored on that part of
Sure.
the equation as
100%.
well. Absolutely, because then
100%.
you can't expect your client to feel honored in the process
if
if
we're
you
not
haven't honored
modeling that.
yourself in that as well. So you're
Absolutely.
mentoring that all the way through the process. That's
Yes.
exactly how it should be. That's in alignment. So that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Well, I want to say a few years ago, I was able to work with Aubrey, and I brought my students. I had 2 bus loads that came, and we got to see firsthand. And it was new to me, and I'm a psychology teacher, and this was a new.
And Anita therapy. So it was just,
I'm
was
like,
a great
I
way to
need
do
therapy,
it. Double
so
dipping. She was double dipping.
Yes, I'm going to bring some students, but it was an awesome experience. It opened my eyes and hopefully opened some of the students' eyes to what's out there.
Yeah.
And then I know I have friends. I know
Yeah.
Jill
Yeah.
looked into
My
it
son
as well.
did come do it with Aubrey. And additionally, my older son went to an equestrian ranch every Sunday
Oh, that's right.
to take care of a horse there. And it was one of the things for him that was very life sustaining. And it wasn't necessarily therapy, but it was his time learning how to work with the horse and learning how to get the horse, who was kind of a stubborn little bugger. And such was my son, and how their relationship grew, for over the years.
Yeah.
And then when that horse went to a new place, how sad that was for my son. But just the power of animals and the power of what they can do
yeah.
and bring into their life,
Absolutely.
I
What
just
they
think,
can teach us.
Yeah,
well,
for
and you
sure.
see it with service animals, and you see it with animals that can go into care facilities. You can see it with animals that are helping those that have had traumatic brain injuries. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the
It's
power
just- yeah.
of connection.
Right.
Just
The power
needs to
of
be,
connection.
Yep. It just
That's-
needs to be seen more as a logical piece to the healing process.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Well, we're so thankful.
Yeah, you
and
guys. Oh my
and
gosh.
grateful
Love
that
it.
you
Thankful.
could join us for the podcast today.
Well,
And
and grateful for the work you guys are doing.
absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. And
absolutely.
when you have your healing sanctuary, I'm going to be the number one donor, and the animals are going to be my besties.
Thank
'cause I
you.
She
I'm a stalker of the
she takes
animal.
geriatric animals.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
love my
And I
geriatric
get
dog.
rid of- I'm
Yeah.
like, I've been
Yeah.
trying to get rid of one of mine, and
Yeah, stop it.
snuggle me this morning, and I was
Oh, well,
like,
now it's safe for
Alan is
another
the
10 years.
Best.
Right.
Alan is the best.
Yeah.
I was never going to have a dog, and then I had a dog, and it was an outside dog, and then finally that dog came inside and it didn't want to ever go out, and it became part of our family, and then it passed away, and then the next dog sleeps in my bed.
Yep.
Yep.
Under the covers, just like my 2 dogs do.
I'm like, who am I? I used to barely pet dogs. I'd be like, oh, touch it with a finger. This is your dog. Oh,
Like, good dog.
yeah.
You know you love your dog.
Well,
when you kiss them full on the
I
snout
know.
every morning.
We didn't grow up with dogs because my mom's
Yeah, we
allergic
didn't
to all the animals. And we did have a horse, and we had a Shetland pony growing up. But when we came home from the horse pasture, we had to drop our clothes in the laundry room, go shower, and then we could live. But because my mom was just so allergic. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think the key is connection. We all
Yeah.
want and need connection, and so many of us have learned to live without it, right? And our connection then becomes social media, Facebook,
Right.
gaming, whatever.
Yeah,
And we
which is not a
learn-
connection.
No, we learn to be disconnected, and I think
And what animal doesn't want to be connected at with no judgment, with no preconceived notions? They will just love you no matter what or who
Yeah,
or anything.
they do.
So I'm all
So-
animal.
Kind of how I love you guys. like that.
No,
it's
I'm-
like that.
I'm judgmental.
Thank you guys.
But I still love you.
Okay,
You may
okay.
not love me,
Judgmental
but
ladies.
I love
Wow.
you.
I'm
Yeah.
grateful for each of you.
You guys,
and
thank you so
I can't
much
wait
for
to
the
have
work.
you back.
Yep.
Yeah.
we
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait to have you to
Yes.
Can't wait.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
guys.
much. Join us
Appreciate it.
in a couple of weeks for our next episode of A Great Day to Talk. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, look, getting a song in.
It's a great day.
Well, it's not really a song.
I don't even know that.
Thanks for listening to It's a Great Day to Talk.
Be sure to follow and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform.
And until next week,
Get out there and talk.
This has been a production from a podcast studio.